Unruh with Great Plains Bows. We've got a demonstration here. We're going to talk about bow refinishing, possible design new bows, what to look for, and what to avoid. There's also a table here. You've got several bows for sale. If you haven't ever seen them in person, I would suggest you stop by and look at them. He does amazing work.
Well, I appreciate you guys' time here today. Full transparency. I don't do a lot of these. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Shane Unruh, and I'm the bowyer at Great Plains Traditional Bow Company. I own Great Plains Bow Company for the last 10 years. I'm here with my wife, Carissa, and my two littlest ones, Zuri Ray and Rio. They came with me to support me. So I bought Great Plains in 2015. I'm relatively young for a professional bowyer. I'm 40 years old. I've been building bows professionally for 10 years. And I had a little bit of a different upbringing than most people. I was raised in a extremely religious group. Some people would even call them a cult. Although I am very thankful for a lot of the teaching, the work ethic, and the good values that I received from them. My wife and I did leave that group about 3 years ago. We still have a lot of dear friends from that group. They're a great bunch of people. Very small group. A lot of you would know who they are. There's only about 26,000 members worldwide. And I'll just say who they are, just for full transparency, but we grew up Holdeman Mennonites. I'm sure a lot of you know who they are and what they are. A lot of good people. So, but anyway, I'm getting to a point here. Because I grew up that way, they do not believe in continued education or higher education in any form whatsoever. So they do not allow anybody to go to high school. So I wasn't allowed to go to high school. I wanted to go to high school really badly. Now the reason I wanted to was not for education. I've always loved sports a lot, and I wanted to be coached in sports. That's why I wanted to go. So after 8th grade, they put us through pretty rigorous teaching in elementary. When I was in 8th grade, I was taking 11th grade consumer mathematics. I sucked at it. I was a solid B- in mathematics, but it did teach us a lot. So after I graduated 8th grade, instead of going to further education, I went right into the workforce. So I always built out of wood for years and years, even when I was 10 years old. When I was 10, and in our family, I have 5 siblings. When we turned 10 years old, we were always given a calf. And it was our responsibility to raise that calf and then be able to sell that and teach us work ethic. And you could make, back then, if you did a good job, you could make $500. I did not want a calf. And my dad said, well, what do you want? I said, I want a jigsaw. So that's what I got. We went to the Sears store and I got a $35 Black & Decker jigsaw. And I built a lot of stuff, birdhouses. The next year came around when I turned 11 and I had burned it up. We went back, got the very same model, $35 Black & Decker jigsaw. So I've always absolutely just been passionate about woodworking. I've loved it with everything I had. When I was 19 years old, I moved to Arkansas and lived in a camper trailer down in the woods, and I apprenticed at a custom cabinet shop. There I learned a lot about glue joints. Mostly the education I got from there was my glue knowledge. But when people look at my age, they think, a lot of really established bowyers that I respect a lot and I gain a lot of knowledge from are in their 50s, 60s, 70s. And these guys are incredibly talented. And I look up to these guys. You know them all. But I have actually been working with wood for many, many years. I've been working with wood for over 25 years. So that's a little background of me and who I am and how I grew up, where I came from. I got Great Plains Bow Company in 2015. I bought it from Bill Foreman. That's a long story in itself. I don't want to spend too much time on that. When Bruce said I was going to do a demonstration, I don't know if I would call it a demonstration, yet it is kind of. I started my YouTube channel to showcase how to restore bows, how to fix bows, weight reduction, stuff like that. I never anticipated that it would go crazy, but it did, and I've had hundreds of bows sent to me. So because of that, I have simply just completely ran out of time to do this, and nobody is more disappointed in me when I can't meet my deadlines and get your bows back to you than me. So it's hard for me to take a bow of yours that you love, and if you're sending it to me because you want to reduce the weight, that means that it's worth the money for you to reduce it because it's special to you. So then I take a year to get it back to you. Well, that's disappointing for you and me. So today what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about several things, but I want to give you guys the tools and the knowledge to be able to work on your own bows. Very simply, very basic, and teach you some things about how the bow dynamics and how they work. So when you guys look for a new bow, when you think about buying a new bow, whether it be Amazon, eBay, custom bowyer, when you pick up a new bow, when you shoot a new bow, what are the things that you're looking for? Can anybody tell me, and this is not a trick question, this comes down to personal opinion. When you grab a new bow and you shoot it, what are you looking for that would give you the knowledge to purchase this bow? Anybody?
Grip feels in the hand.
Grip?
Stacking.
Bunch of grip. Okay.
Outside.
Stacking. How many of you, the grip is super important? Okay. Would you say that the grip is the most important? No. How about you? What do you think? Tiller? How many of you think are looking for the tiller and how it shoots? How important is that?
Grip is a disqualifier.
Grip is a disqualifier. Okay. No, that's a good point. But so we would probably agree, right, that the grip is probably the most important thing when we first grab a bow. So the grip can be a little bit hard to work on if you don't have woodworking tools. That is a very good point. I'm going to tell you what you can do for the grip. But what is another thing that you look for? Let's say after you shoot it, say you like the grip. You like the grip, and now you're shooting it. Now you shoot it. What's the next thing that you're looking for? Center shot? Excellent.
The weight.
What's that?
Not the draw weight, but the weight of the bow.
The physical weight of the
Yes,
bow.
physical weight of the
Yeah,
bow.
absolutely. Those are good points. So we've got the grip. Then we've got, is it center shot? Physical weight of the bow. Draw weight, you're going to know pretty quick whether you can do it or not from your other knowledge of what you have, right? So the grip is a tough one because most guys are not going to have the resources to change that grip at home. The center shot is an easier one, actually, believe it or not. So how many of you, oh, by the way, I do have a small YouTube channel. It's not even 10,000 subs, but most of you know about it. I do show you how to change some of these things on there. But I'm going to show you today the small things that you can change easily and successfully to make it improve your traditional archery experience. So I've got a couple bows here, and I've got some tools here. This is a tool here, and this I'm going to give these away today. These are half-round files. This is a bastard cut, and they're coarse cut. They're a Nicholson file, and they are about 12 inches of cutting length. Very, very important to have a half-round, because with a half-round file, when you don't have the square edge in here, you can get into places on a bow that a square edge file cannot. So the half-round is really important if you're working on your bow. So I'm going to show you this tool. Another really important tool is just your 1/4 inch rat tail file, also Nicholson. If you're buying a file, do not even waste your money on any other brand but Nicholson. That's where it's at. They're sharper, they clean out better. This is a little bit bigger file. It's also would be considered a rat tail, but it's about a 3/8 inch round rat tail file. This is what these Nicholsons look like brand new. They're really, really hard to find, these half-round bastard cut course. In my area, I have to custom order them. They're about $30 a piece. Absolutely awesome files. So, I'm going to show you this bow here. So when you look at this bow, what do you look at first that you're going to say that's an issue?
Shiny.
Shiny?
It's short.
It's short? How long do you think this bow is?
54.
48.
It's 48. So whoever said grip is correct. That grip is from the 50s. So what this grip is designed to do, and a lot of people, and there are still some archers that shoot this way, but it's an open hand, and they're not gonna close on it. They're gonna hold it open like this, and they're gonna use their webbing, and they're gonna shoot like this. Well, we found, and what we've learned from all the different guys that teach about shooting is that sort of outdated, and it's not really, you can't, if you grew up doing it, you probably could be good with it, but it's not the best way to grip a bow. So you got this big giant hump right here. No good. So that's the first thing when you look at this bow. What's the next thing when you look at this bow?
Shell.
Flat shell. What else?
Their sight window's flat too.
Yep, sight window's flat.
That's the bottom end of the sight.
So the sight window is completely flat. So what's going to happen when you put an arrow on there? It's going to have full contact across that whole thing. Just solid contact. So the more contact on an arrow, on the bow, the more drag, the more resistance, the more inaccuracy. So when you're holding this bow and it's pivoting on the fulcrum and you move just a little bit and this here hits your arrow or something, when you release, you're going to be 3-4 foot off the target, just really quick. The next thing I want to show you here, see these lines here? You may know what those are. You think that's in the glass or the finish? Actually, on this bow, it's in the finish. This is a bow this is a Indian archery stalker bow, and this is a bow that was sent to me that I'm going to completely rework for the fellow. This particular bow is, I can take my finger here and I can scratch that, and it's just right in that top finish layer on this particular bow. Sometimes it is down into the glass, but on this one, I can peel that away right there. This is called what we would call finish crazing on this here particular bow. The other thing about this bow that I do not like is how wide this tip is. So there's a lot of resistance here. There's hardly no taper down into the riser. This bow just has a lot of issues. It's not comfortable. It's just it needs a lot of work. So this is a bighorn bow. This one here has a nice radius shelf, real nice. But here again, it's real flat side plate. So we need to work with that. The grip on this one's super nice. Really like it. It's got your, when you hold your hand out, it's draping in there just perfect. It cradles right in there. That's really nice. So the grip on this one doesn't need to be messed with. So on this one, all we need to do is radius the side plate and bring that out. And then this one came in for a weight reduction. So this one here is like they were back then, 70 pounds at 27 inches. So really, really heavy bow right here. The bighorns are kind of the bane of my rework job. A bow like this, because it needs so much attention, they finish up just beautiful, but it would take me a day and a half to reduce this bow, clean it up, and get it beautiful for the customer again. Also because it has the splatter finish on it, and that takes a lot of work to take that off. This one also, but this one does not have as much problems with the performance as this Indian archery.
How much weight can you get out of a bow before you start damaging the stability of it?
That's a good question. So what I do whenever I look at a boat and I'm asked that question is I first look at the width of the limb and then the thickness of the glass. So just looking at this bow, I can tell you that that glass is between 35 and 40 thousandths. So this particular bow, there's more on the belly than the back. 70 at 27. I can reduce this bow very carefully 15 pounds without damaging it structurally. I wouldn't want to go more than that.
It's always a bow-to-bow estimate based on what you've got on it.
What's that?
It's a bow-to-bow estimate. There's
Yeah.
no probably generality depending on.
Yeah, if I get a phone call and a customer says, well, how much can I usually have like I usually say 10 to 15 pounds on a recurve, 15 to 20 on a longbow. I have taken as much as 25 or 30 off. Has to be just the right situation. But they are the bighorns are really hard to work on. So, how many of you know what bow, what kind of bow this is, or what brand it is?
KT-44.
KT-44. Matt's right. This is made by Kiko Tovar, and he passed away in 1995. This guy was ahead of his time in what he was able to do with bows. Just looking at these limbs, how many pounds do you think these are?
51.
51. Anyone else?
45.
45. If I'll take 3 more guesses, you get a file if you get within
47.
47.
35.
35. 62. Okay. Matt was the closest. Good guesses. Thank you, guys. It's 55 pounds. But this is what's fascinating about this bow. Look how, Tom, that's what I would have guessed. Because if you look how thin those limbs are, they're super, super thin. But if you look at the angle of attack and everything on the riser and the extreme hook on the recurve, this bow limb builds weight so fast. So were they comfortable to shoot? Not in the least. Very uncomfortable to shoot. But still, what the guy was able to do back then, and to create a bow this short, is still really impressive to me, and I have a lot of respect for him. So this is one I'm going to reduce also, and I'm going to film this one here. You can pass this one around and see what you guys think about that grip.
It's cool.
It's super cool. I'm going to let you pass this one around here too. So what I wanted to show you guys today is just give you some, I don't have much time, I'm just going to give you some basic knowledge and tools on what you can do with your own bows, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to string this up. I'm going to string one. Oh, by the way, this is my new hybrid that I designed over the Christmas break that I didn't take, but it was still a good time. This is the Houdini, and it was named after 2 things. It's spelled Hoodini. It's named after the tawny owl, which the slang name for the tawny owl is the Houdini, and also for the man, the Houdini that could fit in very small spaces. This is an aggressive hybrid longbow. It's able to handle fairly long draws. I will never lie to you guys, to my customers. I will tell you the truth on stacking, but it can still handle quite long draws for very short lengths. This bow here is 54 inches. This bow does not stack until after 28 inches. This one has carbon in it because this is the second bow I ever built off the form, and I didn't know if it was going to work. Also, you'll see that this back overlay is starting to come off. That is because I put this overlay too far up onto the fade, and there's too much flex, and so it's starting to come off. So I have another one here. I'll let you guys pass those around, but on the other one I dropped it back, and you can see that it's not. It's perfectly intact because there's too much flex here. I just wanted to push that off the belly of the bow. So I'm going to string these up and let you check these out while I talk about what you can do to your bows. Now these files I brought, they are used. There's a lot of life in them, but because of how fast I need to, everything is done by hand at Great Plains. We don't have CNC machinery. I have to work with my hand tools really fast. And because of that, I switched to new files really quickly. These files have a lot of life in them, so Matt, whoever I choose to give one to, pick the sharpest one, and we'll go from there. Okay, let me straighten this one up real quick.
So you said that one had a little defect. Is there any way of fixing that?
Oh, absolutely. I left it in there just so I could show you guys, some of the stuff that goes into, the R&D, and like you think you've got it. It takes about a year of field testing and working the kinks out before you know that absolutely it's never going to cause a problem anywhere. These little things like this, you catch them. Sometimes you don't catch things for a couple years down the road, and then you remedy them. But I left it in there just so you could see, and then you'll also be able to see this one, how I put it further down and it's not coming off.
What is that pull?
This one here is a 56 40-pounder.
So is there any, would there be any harm in shooting that bow?
Oh, no.
As it is?
No, I've shot that hundreds and hundreds of shots already.
So is it more cosmetic than it is?
It is. That one is going to one of my field testers in California that has been pushing me to design these for a long time. And we're going to send it to him just like that. And we're just going to see what happens. If it stays just like that, then we know it's purely cosmetic. It's not going to cause the bow to fail ever, because the way the bow is glued up, it's not inside of the integral glue up of the actual bow itself. It's an overlay added to get the grip. Okay. I'm already taking too much time, and
I
I'll
was
try
just
to be
talking
brief.
about, what do you think about going ahead and fixing plates and then continuing on? Would you be okay with
Oh,
that?
I don't want to
absolutely.
miss any of this, man.
No,
I don't want you to rush.
Absolutely. I don't want to waste anybody's time here.
No.
Yeah, you can.
So maybe here in a few minutes, we'll
Yeah.
kind of take a break and we'll get our food and then we'll continue
Yeah.
on. That'd be okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
So, how many of you guys know how to? I mean, you can look at a bow that the limb is twisted. You know immediately it's twisted if it's really bad, right? How many of you know how to find if it's twisted, if it's just a tiny twist, and just looking at the bow, I can't see it? Does anybody know how to find that? Okay, I'm gonna teach you that here. And so let's see how I could do this. All right, I'm gonna try to do this the best I can. So the way that you do this, first I'm gonna show you by physically showing you the spots, and then I'm going to show you by me looking down it. I'm going to hold this with one finger. I'm going to look down here, and right here where your sight vision comes into here, you're going to be about 7 inches down right here. You're going to take this, and you're going to take this here. This is both in your sight vision. You're going to center the tip in the center here, and with that centered, when that's all centered up, that's when you're going to look down to this limb. And that will tell you when this is centered, then you look down here and you'll see a reveal. It's hard to explain, but you'll see a reveal. You'll see if it's twisted one way or the other way. So I'm going to show you how I do it. Let's see here. So I'm going to look down here. I'm going to take this right here. I'm going to center this right in the center of the limb. And then I'm going to, my sight vision's on a perfect, it's a straight angle, straight down here to right here. Then I'm going to look at that and see if this is equally centered right here where there's no movement on the limb. It may not make sense at first, but try it, what I'm telling you, and see if you can see it. I'm going to spin this bow around. Okay, see if you can just set it down there. See if you can see it. That's how. Now, if it's that micro small of a twist, it's probably never going to affect you. I'll tell you something about twist. A lot of recurves, even professionally made, have a small amount of twist in them. Never cause you any problem whatsoever. You'll be totally fine with it. Longbows, same thing. It's only whenever they get to the point where the string is popping out of the groove is when you've got a severe issue, and you have to correct it, or it'll unstring itself or hurt you in some fashion. So, okay. So if I'm going to correct, you can pass that bow around and look at the twist on it. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about tiller, moving on here. So micro tiller, if you have a tiller that's within a 1/4 inch of difference, first of all, just an overall, tiller is the unit of measurement used to find that the top limb is weaker than the bottom limb, simply because of your hand placement on the string. So if you have a bow that's out of tiller, but say it's out of a tiller or a 16th or an 8th, it's probably never going to cause you a problem. But if it's out of tiller a 1/2 inch, it will cause you a problem. So when you get a bow, the first thing you're going to do after you check the straightness, you're going to take a tape measure and you're going to measure from where the fade out ends to the string on both sides, top and bottom limb. And whatever distance that is, you want, if the shelf is 1 inch above center, this needs to be 1/8 of an inch. Now you're going to have some bowyers that say, well, I make mine a 16th or I make mine 3/16. The rule of thumb for tiller is every 1/4 inch needs to move the top limb 1/16 of an inch. Every 1/4 inch above center on the shelf moves the limb 1/16 of an inch. So at 1 inch, this is going to be an 1/8 inch difference. So at 1 1/4, 3/16. At 1 1/2, you're going to have a 1/4 inch. This has been proven to be very successful at Great Plains whenever I work on all the different reworks coming in. Lots and lots of different bows from different manufacturers, different custom bowyers, and I've tested this theory again and again and again, and it proved very, very accurate. So every 1/4 inch, 1/16 inch of difference on the top limb. So you're going to check that, you're going to check the straightness when you get the bow, and then you're going to weigh it. Those are the 3 things of tuning. So how do we change the tiller? Easiest way, without getting crazy, is if you have a bow and say you measure this and it's even tiller. The top limb is the same distance to the string as the bottom limb, same distance to the string. The absolute easiest way to change this without getting yourself into a huge mess of refinishing is take you some 220 sandpaper, and what I use is Clean Spore, best sandpaper out there. And you take this and you count your strokes, and you'll sand each stroke 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on the side, and you keep doing that just on the sides, until you have that tiller move. That is the easiest way to change your tiller that anybody can do at home. And it's really quite simple. After you get it done, if you're dealing with a high-end custom bow and you don't want to mess with the finish, you might want to call your bowyer on that. But if you're buying, bows off eBay or rework bows that you don't, it's fine if they aren't perfect. Then use this method, and this is the best finish to use on bows after you take that finish off, after you remove that finish and wood. This is a lacquer. It's made by Watco, and the satin I found is universally about the exact same sheen as all of the custom bow companies are using to get this color right here. this sheen right here. So we use this when we hang our bows up to finish them. We hang them by a string and we touch them up with this. And if you look at all those bows that you've got in your hands, all of those bows have been touched up with this on the top limb, on the tip. And you really can't tell. It matches so perfectly. So this is the stuff right here you want to use to, if you need to touch up your limb. Any question on tiller, on how to adjust your tiller? Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so now that we've got tiller out of the way, I'm going to talk to you about straightness, limb straightness. If you get a bow and it's bad twisted to the point of where, let's just show you here. Say you get a bow that looks like that. So that's not good. That's going to cause some severe issues. You can see that, right? You can see that twist. That's aggressive. So if you have something like that, the easiest way to fix this, I mean, you can go on Facebook and get 1,000 answers. But if it's twisted like this, absolute easiest way to fix this is to take it, go the other way, about right there. Get you either some spring clamps, or you can use a little bit of string. Tie your string onto here and wrap it around there a bunch of times, and then heat this with the heat gun. Now you'll see this on Facebook too. Don't use heat on your limbs. You can within reason. So what I generally do is I have an infrared thermometer. You don't have to use that. You can kind of judge it, but you'll heat this evenly each side, and be patient with it. It'll take some time. Doesn't have to. You don't have to just. You should get it heated within maybe 8-10 minutes. That's all it will take. Heat it evenly, both sides. And once it's like that, tie it over like that, hang it up or lay it flat for 24 hours. And you can get almost any twist out that way if you're patient. It might take several sessions. Do not ever put it in a bathtub of water like you see on Facebook. Never do that. That's a bad idea. Also, you can't, if it's a small twist, you can take a twist out just by manipulating it out. It's not going to hurt the bow if you're careful. If you just, so I could take this bow here, and if there's a little twist in it, I can do this. It's not going to hurt it. It's going to be fine. You don't want to get crazy with it, but the thing about that is you're probably not permanently going to take that twist out. You're probably going to have to take it out with some heat of some kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
What temperature do you heat it to? If you do have an infrared gizmo that tells you how hot it is.
100 degrees.
That's it.
Yeah, don't go over 100 degrees. Yeah. So these bows are all cooked in our forms. We have intermittent current running through the forms. Every 18 seconds, it sends 1 second of current through. We run those at 160 degrees. My right-hand man, Nick, which is Matt's son, he's my glue-up tech there at Great Plains. And he glues up all these bows. All these bows you're holding, he glued. But we heat them at 160. So you do not ever want to exceed the amount of heat the bow was glued up at whenever you're heating it to repair a twist or anything, because that would be absolutely devastating. You would actually you would soften that glue to the point that it could let go. So that's how I would recommend fixing a twisted limb. You can fix them what I call mechanically, which is by actually taking material off. There's a lot of videos on that on my YouTube channel. We don't even begin to have enough time to talk about that here. I just wanted to touch the things that you can do. So the tiller, you can do that by taking it off the sides. The twisted limb you can do with the heat and the moving it over for 24 hours. Any questions on that stuff? You want to eat now, or?
Let's go ahead and fix your plates, 'cause you got a lot of stuff coming.
I'm going to talk to you about these teardrop sanders. You can find these on Amazon. These are absolutely awesome if you want to work on a bow. I have 6 or 8 of these. The brand that you can find on Amazon is called PowerTech. and they're just rubber. And the great thing about these is, what I do, I have 3 sizes, and I made these the sizes I want. You just take them to a sender or anything. I got real sharp, I got a medium, and then I got a thick. And you just take your sandpaper. I'm going to show you how to do this. Wrap it around here, just like this. Wrap it like that, and you've got it. And you use that edge. The only thing I use these teardrop sanders for is this small radius right here. So what you can do with that is you can get right in here. Using the tighter one, you can get right into this edge here, and you can take off those burrs real carefully. The tips are the easiest to work on, because if you do that and then you just hit it with your finish and melt it in, it looks like you didn't even touch it. Looks like nobody touched it and you fixed your bow, because you're not down clear into the business area of the bow where if you do a repair it looks bad. So very, very simple thing to do on all your new bows. Always look for tip burrs, because that's something that you can fix. It's really easy. Now, just real quick, if you get a bow and you see a bad glue line on a tip and it looks like maybe it's going to pop out, super glue is your friend. What I use, is Stick Fast. Once again, you can buy this on Amazon. Another really, really good brand is Star Bond. The Star Bond is probably even better than Stick Fast. We use the Stick Fast because it comes in bigger bottles a lot, but for small repairs, the Star Bond, the most awesome thing about this is I'm fixing to show you. It comes with 2 caps. Pop this off here, and then you cut that off. But what's really cool is they send with it these little tips, and they're super, super tiny. And these little tips, they just pop onto here. And when it plugs up, just snip it off with the scissors, keep going, and man, you can get anywhere with these little tips. So if you've got Star Bond, yeah, you can get it in black, you can get it in brown, you can get it in clear. I use a lot of black if it's going up like against phenolic or G10 or FR4. Really good to fill gaps with. If you need to fill a gap, if you got a pretty good size hole in there, and say you want to fill it with black, you got a hole in there, fill that with your Star Bond or CA. This will work the same. I just like the Star Bond because it has these little tips that are super cool. Once you have the hole filled, take a sharp pencil or anything, hook it down in that hole, because what will happen is you'll get little air bubbles, and they will hold that. It looks like you've got the hole filled, but you've got an air bubble in there. And so then whenever you go to sand it off, oh, whoops, you got a big void in there. So poke it down in there, release that air bubble, hit it with accelerator. This stuff is awesome. Any accelerator that you buy on Amazon or anywhere works the same with CN crinolate glues, super glues. The minute you spray it, it's dry in a couple seconds. If you guys want to come up here, use it on the back of the sandpaper and try it out just for fun, you can use as much glue and accelerator as you want. It's really cool. It'll just dry instantly. So this is your friend and the Star Bond. You can fill gaps, and if you have a tip that you see it start to delaminate, you know, heat it up to about 100 degrees with your heat gun. Put on a glove, a latex glove. In the case like this, you're going to want to use the medium. The thin is for real small cracks and really, really tight delaminations in glass or wood. That's when you want to use the thin. This is the medium. Here's the thin and the Stick Fast. And it's just like water. It's just like water. This has a little more body to it. So with something like this, say you have a tip that's delaminating. In a case like that, if you're not really familiar, don't even use heat. Just get you on a latex glove or something, put it over the crack, and then put pressure. Really push it in there. Push that into the crack. Just keep going until you see it really saturated. After you have it in there, put either a spring clamp or a little clamp on it. When you see it squeeze out and push out, hit it with an accelerator. If you don't have accelerator, no big deal. Just let it sit. And you'll fix your tip. Super glue is insanely strong, and it works super good on glass on bows. I use it all the time in my restorations and reworks. So super glue is your friend. That kind of covers the tips. Chris, what were we talking about in the break that you wanted me to cover? Oh yeah, we'll just cover that, and then I'll take questions if anybody has questions on how they would like to work on their bows. What she was talking about is how you can easily radius the side plate. This makes a big difference. You may think, oh, I'll just radius the shelf and then I'm good to go. The side plate and the shelf go hand in hand. If you're going to radius the shelf, one thing to keep in mind is the high point needs to be directly above the webbing of your hand, because the fulcrum of the bow is where your arrow needs to pivot. So if you're shooting this bow here, the high point of your shelf should be right there. That's where you want the arrow to pivot. That reduces movement. If you have it clear back here and you move a little bit, the point of your arrow is going to go way up and you're going to miss. So you're radiusing this, you're going to take your rat tail. This is going to be your landmark if you're going to do your shelf and side plate. It's really easy. You go watch my videos. I've got a number of videos where I do it on camera. But you're going to come in here and you create the shape and profile you want with your 1/4 inch rat tail. You're going to come in here, round it over, drop it down, and make your high point here. And then you'll come in, what I say is connect the dots. So basically, just come in with your 1/4 round and just file that to the shape that you made with your rat tail. Your rat tail is basically like your pencil. You're just making your shape with your rat tail file, and then you're just connecting the dots with your big file. Same thing on the side plate. Now we want this fulcrum to be right here. High point here, also high point on the side plate. So once you have the rat tail work done, come in here, lay it flat, put a piece of wood in your vise, and then clamp it down here and shape this up to, I usually draw a line right where I want my high point is, and then I take my file, shape up to the line here, then I come from this side, shape up to the line there, and I've created my radius on my side plate and relieved all that arrow contact that's going to make contact with your bow when you're shooting. That right there will make such a huge difference on how your bow shoots. So those things I wanted to cover yet. You'll see on my YouTube channel, I have not created any new videos for a couple months, and that is because I was contacted by Universal Studios, and I am building the bow for Christopher Nolan's movie Odyssey with Matt Damon that is coming out in July of 2026. So I can't show you pictures of the bow, but that bow will be finished Wednesday. So it is really super cool. I can show you pictures on my phone if you want to look at it, but I cannot share them, or I'm under a non-disclosure agreement. But that is why you have not seen any new YouTube videos for the last 2 months. So that's all I've been doing. So are there any questions that I could help you with on working on your own bows or anything else?
Congratulations on that. That's
Oh, thank you.
awesome. How do you do that?
It is very exciting and extremely stressful.
You get over the stress.
You deal with people that have no sense of humor at all. So,
When you see that paycheck down
what's that?
when you see the paycheck down
Yeah. It's not been bad.
It probably doesn't help that they don't know how to shoot a bow.
No, it doesn't. It does not help at all.
You're doing all that work for somebody that can't shoot.
I wasn't allowed to talk about it until a couple weeks ago, and then they said that now it's public knowledge that is the movie it's for, and but I still cannot share pictures or post pictures of the bow on any social media platform or to any other phone. But if you want to see what it looks like, I can show it to you on my phone. So,
Hey Shane, came out with a new longbow not too long ago. Is that right?
Yeah, the
Same
hybrid.
part of it, Yep.
yeah, I was showing them that earlier. Are there any questions on this? The new hybrid Houdini bow.
What lengths are you gonna offer then?
This will be available from 48 inches to 64.
Wow.
So 64?
Yeah.
48 to 60 feet.
Yeah. So the riser will change incrementally. You can plan on a good rule of thumb with this bow. Every 2 inches of length, you will get another inch of draw. So this particular bow is a 56. This bow draws smooth without stack to 29 inches. At 60, it will draw smooth to 30. There will be a cap on that, I imagine, because we're not going to be drawing this bow 36 or 40 inches. But it has been pretty, everyone that we've tested, it's been about 2 inches. 2 inches length equals 1 inch of smooth draw.
What's the speed on that?
So this bow here, now these numbers are kind of crazy, and if you don't believe them, I don't blame you, because I didn't either. And I like to be really transparent, and I don't like to say numbers that are ludicrous and ridiculous that people are like, there's no way that's true. This is what I seen on my chronograph. This bow here is 54 inches, 42 pounds. I built some arrows up to 9 grains per pound of bow weight, and I repeatedly shot this, and they all were hitting over 200 feet per second. The highest I saw was 207 feet per second. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, that's not entirely accurate because I have a 29-inch draw. This bow is rated up to 28 inches. So you can drop that a little bit, you know, maybe 8 or 10 feet per second, because technically I was overdrawing this bow an inch with my draw length. But it's still a very, very fast bow. Any questions on this bow? Thank you.
What are you pricing?
So in stock, these will be
You need
$975.
somebody to test it all.
Take it out and test it now.
I was gonna wait until next week.
Yeah. This one is going to California to my field tester there.
You need Team Oklahoma, just holler.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm just gonna say this. I was gonna do a thing. You know, I ran out of time, but anyone who wants one of these files, come get one. They are used. They're, like I said, there's a lot of life left in them. Oh, one more thing. This is the sandpaper I used to sand between coats.
Hey Bruce, do you think it'll work with the cell phone?
Bet there's 100 shelf bows in one of them. Right. You bet.
This is 320 Gator wet dry. This has proven to be the absolute best sandpaper to sand between coats on finish. Anybody that wants one of these can come get one. Then if you want this paper here, this is what I use. This is really high dollar stuff. If you want to buy some of this, I'll sell this for $1 a sheet. This is clean spore. It's made in Germany or Poland, but made in Poland. This particular stuff is. I got 220 and 120. I use the 120 for material removal. Like if you're changing tiller or adjusting straightness, the 120 it's so sharp. It's incredible stuff. It's not like what you buy at Home Depot that gums up in 4.5 seconds. This is really good paper. The 220 is a real good smoother. It's awesome also. Both made clean spore out of Georgia, made in Poland. But if anybody wants sandpaper for their projects, we'll sell this stuff for $1 a sheet.
So a broad question, but kind of, what's your most popular bow that you make? What you do?
Probably the SR Swift.
I like it. I got
Yeah.
one.
The SR, and it would be the SR Swift 3-piece. But I got 3 of them here. Yeah, that would probably be my most popular bow. But now the Houdini's coming online, so we're gonna, you know, that style has proven to be incredibly popular over the last 5 or 6 or 10 years.
Well, trust me, you got my interest on the Houdini.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. You know, nothing's a sure deal until it is. You never know. We'll see how she responds. It may be a dud. I think that's all I got, Bruce.
The fiber range, especially when you're going all the way to 64 inches.
Yeah.
I have a 30 inches long.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the thing about bows is they change they change so much within the same style. If they didn't change at all, if you wouldn't allow them to change at all, you would have to build a separate form for every single length. And that form would have to be engineered exactly to the same parameters. But if you build them all in the same form, like we can't afford to have a form for every length, then they change just a little bit. It's not a lot, but they do.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Really informative stuff.
Thank you guys for your time.